Welcome back, everybody. Sorry, after a bit of a short delay and a few technical issues that hopefully will be sorted out for you guys, we have got a game two between four Zoomers and A Team ready to go. Joining me once again is PPD. What do you make of these game two drafts, Peter?
Well, Batrider is a hero that four Zoomers have been playing a lot. The panel mentioned that. But usually it's Brax playing the Batrider, so it'll be interesting to see how Gunner performs on this hero. I'm actually a bigger fan of this hero in the mid lane rather than the off lane. That being said, I think that A-Team has definitely done their homework. And if you noticed, Batrider was being picked very early by Alliance up against Nigma over in the EU DPC. And what Nigma did is they let Miracle go mid on Slark in both games, and he completely dominated. He quickly farmed a like 11, 12, 13-minute diffusal and just basically followed the bat everywhere he went. And it's a really interesting concept because a lot of times the enemy team picks bat and you feel like you're pressured to pick this, this Slark, this PL, this Juggernaut, something that can deal with the sticky napalm. But then when the bat goes mid, you just put your carry mid, and then you have this over-leveled, over-farmed carry who just kind of dominates the game.
Yeah, it's interesting to kind of hear you mention like the other regions. It seems like a big something the panel said with with Husky is like players are watching the other regions and taking ideas a lot. Is that something you feel like you're doing as well because of how much time you have to watch the other regions going on?
A little bit. I mean, I think EU Dota is kind of at the top, so everybody kind of looks to see what Team Secret or OG or Nigma is kind of up to, and this Batrider has been a hero that I've looked at and have really felt like, yeah, he's really good. So I just wasn't sure if I wasn't sure what the best answer to it was, but I saw them putting the carry mid like this, and I really, really liked it. So very meta, I guess you could say, and meta will continue to evolve. All right.
We'll see how it works out for A Team as they bust out a page from the EU book. They do get their mid ward dewarded by four Zoomers who managed to scout it out. Definitely a bit sad.
Amateur mistake.
Do you just not put your ward there where you can scout it with the tower hits?
I think usually you just let you need someone to just stand there in the trees, so then the enemy team doesn't know if you have the ward or not.
Okay.
That's kind of how you deal with that, and then they're not going to stay there all the way up until the bounty runs. So your mid hero can just put the ward down if that's where you really want it, and then walk back to mid and block.
Well, once again, we are going to be seeing the 5-position Brewmaster. Husky going to TP himself to the top lane with a sentry. And we'll see the Brewmaster plus Wraith King lane up against an OD Earth Spirit. Seems like they're making these Brewmaster plus melee carries work okay so far.
Yeah, but they haven't faced off against the boss of a hero that is known as OD. This guy is an absolute terror to lane against. He doesn't really run out of mana, and he'll astral you and deny a CS or make you miss a CS or whatever it might be. So kind of a carry's worst nightmare, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the new orb you always have mana for an arcane orb.
Yeah, the hero doesn't run out of mana. It's a little bit busted, right? Level 3, you've got this Astral that does 280 damage. That doesn't really cost mana because you never run out. It's like a bit flawed. I mean, if there was to be a balance patch, I think this hero would be getting a little bit touched.
Nope. They may have overcommitted in the top lane. Sabo rolled in and took a lot of damage, but has got the salve to back it off, and it's actually first blood down bottom. Ocean gets picked off by the Grimstroke Leshrac duo.
I missed it. Did you see what happened?
I missed it too. I don't know. Maybe Observer caught it. I trust him more than I trust us.
Maybe.
But, I was watching top.
Ocean getting first blooded in both games now. Needs to watch himself. Been doing a little bit of feeding in these series. Action top.
Yep.
Nah, just a casual roll.
And just trading regen a bit here, it seems. Roll in, take some damage, dish out some damage. Try and pressure the Wraith King, but he's free farming so far.
Yeah, OD is, I guess he kind of has a slow start. I don't know if this is the usual build. I guess you can skip the point national, but I think it's pretty damn good.
This is the usual build I've seen from at least offlane OD, where you get the point in Astral at level 3.
Yeah, level 3 and level 4 you go Astral. Makes sense.
And just for the lane, you're just harassing with the Arcane Orb, by guessing. we'll see how things go as Zabo and the Earth Spirits trying to mess with the pulls. Looking at some of these other lanes, so like you kind of mentioned, this 1v1 mid against Batrider, a decent matchup, and you're going to be getting a ton of solo XP. So already Slack off to a good start with a very small CS advantage.
Yeah, Batrider, rushing the model, he's got it coming out. It's going to be really big for him if he can get this, these 4 and 6 minute runes.
Yep. Alright, this is taking a lot of damage mid, but he's going to push Gunner back, who now does have that bottle you mentioned. And down bottom, you've got a tied Rubik up against Grimstroke Leshrac. So, safe lane Leshrac. I guess, obviously, the idea is you've got your carry Slark playing the mid lane, and as a result, you get this dual range duo. Both sides trading blows a lot, but it does look like both Tide as well as Leshrac getting some pretty decent farm so far.
Yeah, and there's a solo kill mid by Gunner.
Got it.
Rises was really, I don't know, he's getting very, very greedy, right? He was trying to get these boots and wasn't really buying regen for himself, and that's a big death because that's also going to be like a almost guaranteed 4-minute rune for Gunner, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't look like, at least not yet, any supports rotating around to help with that rune control, so...
Oh wait, it's bottom.
Guess is wrong. So Slark can make a beeline for that one if he wants to.
Yeah, Bat's got horrible day vision, so he doesn't have that rune ward this game, so he's got to just face check it by walking almost all the way to it.
Yeah, it doesn't have the boots up as well, so he, like you say, he's going to just have to gamble, at least for the 4-minute one. We'll see what happens at the 5 and 6 minute mark. He may just look to refill his bottle with a bounty rune. And so far it is for Zoomers with a slight CS advantage in all 3 lanes.
Yeah, I'm very surprised how well Sammy Boy is doing top versus this OD. I thought this would be way more one-sided for the Bloody Sky.
Killed down bottom, Leshrac gets brought down. The aggression from this Tide with 2 points in Gush. I feel like I've seen a lot of single point in Gush, but the double point from Brax catching Lesh by surprise.
At 2 points Gush, you don't see that often. This lane down here is, I get the idea, but it's just not very synergistic, right? Grimstroke wants to be playing with the melee.
And he is leveling up the Inkswell, so yeah, they haven't really got that good target to have put Inkswell on to run in. They are going to go on Brax with the Inkswell, but again, there's not really the synergy there. It's old Yoda just putting it on himself, and he can't even get close enough to Brax to hit the stun.
Yeah, it'd be nice if maybe he played together with the Earth Spirit a little bit more. Maybe Earth Spirit could come down and gank his lane, or they could both go on the mid lane, or imagine they'll look to do that later in the game, but the early laning phase, I got that first blood, but after that, not much going their way. A lot of missed spells. Wasted
Slark
mana.
gets a nice counter kill onto the Husky Brewmaster, who did kill the Earth Spirit. That gets him a permanent agility, which is kind of nice early on. But he's been pressured a lot.
Here it is. Where's it gonna be? Down the bottom. Yo, Slark, man. It's bottom. He doesn't care.
And Dire Ward does got Slark kind of checked the top room, but Gunner knew where it was going to be with his Observer Ward, so able to bottle that one up, and he's already level 7 as we see Brewmaster getting a kill on the Lesh. This bottom lane's being a disaster. They may get a counter kill on Brax. The last right click from Old Yoda does finish off the kill as Zabo will die underneath this tier 1 tower. Old Yoda trying to turn this one around. He needs to land his strokes. Husky trying to dodge. Oh, nicely landed. Old Yoda finds him with it.
Yeah, this hero is so funny when you fake cast the spell. Yeah. It's like I feel like you see that all the time. Just Grim's pump faking it,
and just wait until they don't dodge it, and then you finally let it go.
It's got the animation and the noise.
Coming back to mid lane, Slark level 7 here, but Gunner having a good time, able just to play the farm game. Something I know Jenkins was mentioning with part of Batrider and his strength right now is his just ability to be this power farmer.
No, for sure. He gets these bots, and then generally I think most bats just rush BKB, so they can just kind of get into the middle of things, and then later they'll pick up the Blink Dagger for that lasso.
Got a jelly as well, which is you've got to feel pretty good about as a Batrider, getting an extra mana regen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Who'd they give the other jelly to?
Good question. I gave it to Tide, actually.
All right. Well,
Bloody Sky's got his Meteor Hammer. He The old Meteor Hammer Rush plus single branch. Going to be able to start farming creep waves, pressuring the tower, and Wraith King doesn't want any of that.
Yep, and that's kind of what you want to do against ODS. Now he's got level 3 Astral. It's pretty hard to stay in lane against this, so you just... Wraith King's one of the better heroes. He gets what he wants in the early game, and then just, goes and farms the jungle. So, Sammy Boy's got more than enough out of his
down
top
bottom.
lane.
They go in on Prince here, but it's a bit of a bait here. Sabo had TP'd on the Earth Spirit, but not going for a counter kill, just looking to keep the Leshrac alive. He's back towards mid Gunner and Rises. They're kind of just fighting over the same jungle here. Gunner trying to stop Slark farming the jungle, Slark trying to do the same to the Bat Rider.
I think that was a Gunner glyph right there. Trying to stop Slark from killing this creep wave.
Yep. We'll force out a second Dark Pack. Also maybe stopping some damage on this top tier 1 tower, which probably is getting Meteor Hammered a few times. It feels like... Ooh, Slark going in up top. He's going to force Wraith King to TP down bottom here. Prince getting very low to the tower. A lot of TPs coming in. Rises is first, but he's got no mana, so this Slark is going to need some backup and some help to get these kills. Has one Dark Pact. Husky's the target he wants. No level 6 as the Wraith King catches out Rises with a stun, and Rises still no mana to do absolutely anything. And Bloody Sky TP down here, but he's got no mana himself.
Yeah, he missed
completely out.
Missed his Meteor Hammer too.
Oh no. Slark and OD, 2 of your core is dead as old Yoda just running into 5 enemy heroes.
Dude,
disaster.
Everything that could go wrong for Radiant is going wrong this game.
So miss Meteor Hammer. I mean, just TPing to defend that makes sense if those heroes have mana to use their spells, but Slark was just frontlining without an ultimate.
Yeah, I say generally you only really want to TP to this tower if you're going to get guaranteed kills, which is usually when the enemy team is diving beyond your tower. It's a bit of a hasty reaction from Radiant, which is not surprising to see, but it's just they end up just chasing, right, rather than fighting underneath their tower, and they chase into trouble. Surprise.
Ocean with the kill snipe. Bat Rider does a nice job blocking the roll to catch the Earth Spirit, and then Ocean shows up just to snipe the kill.
That's what Rubik's do. Fade Bolt does too much damage on its first jump.
Yeah, the old Yapsor play. Another potential kill. Top Rune is going to be picked up by Prince on the Leshrac. They get the hero Soulbind. Yeah, double lightning. Split Earth is not going to be needed, it looks like. His Bat Rider actually will fly over the hill. He gets the flame break onto the cliff. Oh, Prince, he's burning.
How is this
and Ocean with another. These Gunners just running in circles, not letting him get the stroke of fate. Nicely played by Gunner and Ocean. They tip Gunner. Really well played by 4Zoomers.
After game 1, I thought we were going to have a little bit of a closer match here, but this is looking a bit of a disaster.
Back at top, they want Bloody Sky. They've already committed the Brewmaster Primal Split and Ravage on cooldown. 4Zoomers maybe overcommitting a little bit here, but the TP in. Gunner's got boots of travel. He rocks up. He's got Firefly and everything. Rides is going to be careful. He has got the ultimate here. He may be forced to pop it early. The flame break damage with the Firefly is enough to bring him down through the ultimate. Shadow Dancer or not. Oh boy. Looking rough for A-Team here early on. They did bring down a Brew, but that's a 5-position Brew.
Yeah, Leshrac pick was a bit surprising to me in this game. I don't think this hero is particularly great against Bat Rider. It's also quite bad against Rubik, which I believe was first picked by 4Zoomers.
OD mid, defensive Astral, but there's fire waiting for him as soon as he comes out.
It's a Rubik Astral.
Oh, Rubik Astral. Oh, right. Yeah, Sabo. He's rolled into this one now. No roll for another couple of seconds, so he's going to go down then. Yeah, the Rubik with the stolen Astral. Well, you mentioned how this hero, Rubik, can just be a pretty good counter to the OD, and we're kind of seeing it a bit here.
Yeah, it's tough. OD still hasn't really, because of this early reaction on the bottom tower, which ended in a bit of a disaster for them. They actually haven't really managed to take any towers themselves, which is causing them to just lose out massively on the map. Right, like Dire is all over their jungle now. Sammy Boy's taking over this area, and mid lane is constantly pushed, and top lane still don't have the tower.
They bait the Bat Rider in. The Astral into Meteor Hammer. Defensive Astral, the Rubik, that's the stolen Astral once again, keeping Gunner alive, and yeah, they're going to definitely get this kill in Earth Spirit at least. Gunner's just so far ahead, level 12 already.
Yeah, Rubik is quite good. You can't really, I guess you can't dodge it, right? Like you can't use the E anymore, so you can't hide your Astral really at all.
Yeah. Back in mid, Brax getting initiated on. We're going to see if this Meteor Hammer combo has a bit more success. Tide just throws out the Ravage. It's being gone on by the Slark here. They're going to try and get him with the Grimstroke ultimate, but Brewmaster just pops the Primal Split, runs in. They've lost the Tide here, but at what cost here? Gunner with the Firefly Flame Break on top of Prince. The Leshrac is going to burn on down. They lose him with the OD, possibly more, as Grimstroke, spinning around in a little tornado, is going to try to do what damage he can before getting brought down.
What did you hope to gain from that?
Well, all of this is while this game is kind of in 4v5 mode, because Sammy Boy on the Wraith King, Midas Phase Boots, Radiance queued up, is second in net worth overall, but is heavily outfarming the Slark. It does feel like Forzum is getting a commanding lead while just playing 4v5 right now.
Yeah, they're getting a bit outclassed at the moment, I guess is the best way to put it. Sammy Boy takes that tier 2 tower by himself at 13 minutes as Radiant struggles to put together a team fight against 4 of the Forzumers heroes. And yeah, their team just doesn't really have that much synergy, right? Like the panel was talking about it. It's like, what is this Grimstroke ultimate really doing for them, right? It's like you get double Lightning Storm. That's about it.
And the lane itself, they don't have a good Inkswell target either. I mean, the Slark is decent, I guess, but this Slark is still trying to just farm up his first couple of items. Finally gets the Diffusal Blade up. Not the worst time, but...
Maybe they should have tried to do like an aggressive tri-lane against the Wraith King, right? To get that Earth Spirit and Grimstroke playing together from the get-go.
And just have Leshrac play alone down bottom.
No, I mean, maybe have OD play
OD.
bottom alone or something.
Smoke up. A-Team feel like they're, struggling to make something work. They need to make a play and a move. So they smoke in the enemy jungle, but Brax just circles their exact position on the map, says this is where they are, and kind of walks away from them. As an Observer Ward will be dewarded, revealing the position of A-Team. And if Forzum is won, they may actually try and force the fight now. Primal Split up in 10 seconds.
They could, but really, I mean, Forzumers is quite content to just keep farming until Wraith King hits this Radiance timing.
Yep.
And that's going to be... Yeah, and that's going to be... That's going to... I mean, Dire is 9k ahead. I feel like they can take any fight they want, but maybe the safest and best way to play is for them to wait for Wraith King to actually want to participate in the game.
Well, this guy mid gets going on. Gunner gonna BKB charge in, gets the lasso on the Leshrac. OD cannot Astro because he's been Astro himself. They do get the Soulbind out onto 2 as Prince in all sorts of trouble with the Primal Split to back up the onslaught of Forzum as they take out 3 quickly, possibly a 4th if Sabo can't roll himself out of there. Doesn't make it to the high ground as Rises has to Shadow Dance probably to get away from this. It's being lifted, he can't actually get it off, and they team wipe them underneath the tier 3 tower. Not good. And once again, it's a 4v5 fight. You kind of mentioned, they're in no rush to fight because they don't have this Radiance, so their 9k gold lead isn't really a 9k gold lead when Wraith King isn't fighting, but they show it doesn't matter. They'll fight with just 4 heroes.
Yeah, I guess you're right. They do have sort of even net worth, considering it is 5v4.
Yeah, the net worth of those 5 heroes versus these 4 is probably somewhat even, but...
Yeah, unfortunately, their lineup just has no synergy, and I feel like their team fight is just not good. Gunner's got a BKB at this point. He's pretty much untouchable. He had an Arcane Rune for that fight. And here comes Sammy Boy. He's got Radiance on the way, but I think the Relic's enough.
Throws out a stun, gets a few hits off. Brax is just frontlining, has that hood, so he's just so damn tanky with 700 health, and Gunner just flying on top, has a BKB back up, will be forced to pop it, but it looks like he's going to get at least 1 kill. This tier 2 tower is doing a lot of damage to him, but Gunner, it's going to be close. He survives with 60 health. 1 more tower hit would have finished him off. Perfectly played, perfectly calculated, and A-Team are going to get team wiped for a 2nd time in a row. And
this is like one of the most one-sided games. I mean, my pubs are not as one-sided as this one, and I think those, yeah, they called it. I wish I could GG out of my pubs at 17 minutes.
We're forced to, stick it out for another 5 to 6 while they hit a few more creeps and whatnot, but... a very different game 2 compared to game 1. I mean, what do you think went so horribly wrong this game for A-Team?
I think one of the things when you try to like put your carry player mid and your mid player in the safe lane is like they're just a little bit unfamiliar with the lane, right? There's, like we saw him not even check for that 6-minute rune, gave Gunnar a free regen, and he also died mid to the Bat Rider, which maybe this probably just isn't a matchup that he's played in who knows how long. So just overall, I think there was just, you saw the OD he was missing his Meteor Hammer combos off his Astral, and there was really no synergy between the Grimstroke and the Leshrac in the bottom lane. I mentioned it during the cast, like everything that could have gone wrong kind of went wrong, and I think it's kind of based on the draft and the way they set up their lanes.
Yeah, well, it's 4 Zoomers who bounced back after a week 1 loss to Evil Geniuses. They're obviously still trying to fight their way for that top 2. For A-Team, it's probably going to be a different story here. They're trying to fight for survival. That's their second loss here in the upper division, and we're going to see if they can knot themselves together some wins in the future weeks. But for now, it is 4 Zoomers getting the 2-0. Peter, thanks for joining us. We'll have you on future weeks for some of these casts, so I look forward to seeing you then.
Yeah, I'll be back later. Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching, everyone.
All right, and with that, we'll go back to the panel after a quick break.
Welcome back, everybody. More NADPC underway here. We conclude our first series today. It's 4 Zoomers as they claim a swift 2-0, taking down A-Team here. And now they can kind of coast their way into later in the week when they'll face Quincy Crew. But I'm back now with Sunsfan and Jenkins to help me talk about this series a bit. Gentlemen, we were hoping for maybe a bit of a rise up from A-Team in game number 2. They definitely had some spunk in game number 1 and took a fight back to 4 Zoomers, came up short. Game number 2, though, did not bode much better at all, Sunsfan. Your take on game 2?
Shellacking.
Absolute
Yet
shellacking.
another shellacking that we've seen. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did not take notes for this game. I'm just going to be fully transparent. I don't remember the heroes anymore.
Well, it's because there wasn't a troll in the game. Let's be. If there's a centaur or a troll or a pango, he'll take notes. He's laughing because he knows it's true.
That's true. Yes.
Our draft also kind of went into a weird second PC orbit there at the end, and we didn't even get to see how things ended up panning out.
All I remember is a Windows logo, and then the game was over. The game was a shellacking, gentlemen.
In the mid part of the draft, I was like, I feel okay with A-Team a bit, but what we didn't see at the end of the draft was they picked up that Lesh, and then it really got questionable as far as where's the synergy between their own lineup. The laning phase also didn't seem to work out. Jenkins, PPD was mentioning that it really all did start with a bit of the draft in the lanes, but where else did you see that things didn't work right for A-Team?
I actually agree with Peter. I had some different thoughts along the same, essentially, the same train of thought, the same line of thinking, where essentially what happened with A-Team was they put this Slark mid to, copy Alliance or whatever like European teams are doing to deal with this Bat Rider. But then whenever you do that, this is a difference between these like tier 2 and tier 1 teams, is whenever you do that, the timing in which you can fight is a lot different, because instead of having a mid lane Leshrac that's like level 9 and has mid lane farm and runes and stuff like that running around killing everybody, you have a Slark who's not capable of doing that at that timing. So that big fight bot where Gunnar showed up with his bots, and we had the Slark also show up with no mana because this just isn't a mid hero, right? He doesn't have a ball, doesn't have anything like that. It's a timing that you absolutely cannot fight at, and I think that just blew the entire game wide open for Zoomers. And this is the sort of team you give them this advantage. They're never gonna they're never gonna give it back to you. Like Gunnar, I don't think Gunnar even needed a team that game. He just was so snowballing. He can 1v5. That's Dota. Like one hero snowballing, you can literally 1v5. And it's because of this this A-Team draft putting the Slark into the mid lane. They needed to, like, they couldn't go fight bot, period. That's basically the bottom line is I think they're going to look at that game. They're going to be like, we cannot fight into a Tide with Ravage and a bot's Bat Rider with a Slark mid. And our Leshrac is not strong enough to do that. That's our fighting hero. So we needed to dodge. And then after that, the game is just over because they lost like 4 heroes for that.
To help us bring us a bit of their own insight, we have our winners interview now, none other than IX Mike joining us. And we all very familiar with IX Mike being a player. Mike, you coach now for 4 Zoomers. Maybe a lot of people even now learning for the first time that you are the coach of 4 Zoomers. So I want to ask first, how did that relationship come to be? How did you get in the position where you're now coaching 4 Zoomers?
It started with they won the Beat tournament a while back, and Sammy Boy and Gunnar asked if I was interested in coaching them, and I thought they had a lot of potential. After they won that tournament, I thought they were a really hungry team, and back then, before the Corona stuff, there was a lot of lands coming up, so I thought it'd be an interesting opportunity. And so I just agreed to see where I went.
And this is your first time coaching, correct? Or is this something you've dabbled with before?
DC in 2017 for a month.
Awesome. All right. I have Suns fan and Jenkins here, of course, who you're
Who
probably
actually
familiar with.
was the owner of DC, Suns fan, in case you guys didn't know.
Not at that time.
No,
I
not
think
at
that
that
was
Okay,
after
yeah.
my time. IX Mike, I have the most important question. I say this every time, but it's always true. Just Jenkins' question is going to be far less interesting. So this is a double question. So first, I have to ask you, how thick is your mustache right now? From like, what scale would you use?
I would say it's a solid 8. Normally, I
Okay.
get antsy and start plucking out the hairs, but I haven't been doing that recently, so it's going good.
Okay.
Nice.
And to get back to an 8, let's say you shaved it today, how many days would it take for that hair to grow back to the same level that it's at right now?
Probably 3 weeks.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate
Are,
that.
are you hairier than that?
No.
Yeah, Suns
I
fan,
don't
same
think so.
question. How long does it take you to get to an
Come
8?
on.
Is it 3
gotta-
weeks? Is it a week? What's your hairiness
Ooh.
level now that we got it
Actually-
on the table?
I actually shaved my entire beard as a surprise for my girlfriend, and she was literally scared of me for the 2 weeks that it took to somewhat grow back. I mean, the
2
biggest thing
weeks,
for me
okay.
is that I'm half Middle Eastern, so I should be hairier. But like, if I take off my shirt right now, you guys would be shocked how hairless. I mean, there's hair.
Please
It's just
keep it
not
on.
as thick as you might
Yeah.
might imagine.
All right.
Thank you, Suns fan. Jenkins,
Jenkins,
please, a
good luck
question that's
following that
not
up.
that's not about grooming and
He's
personal
right,
hygiene. please.
Dakota. It was a very good question. 10 out of 10. First time I actually know about meme question. So I asked Mike back probably a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember. We had a chat about rules to gain MMR, and you gave me an essay of stuff, and I have held those highly near and dear to my heart. Back when I was a 6K pleb, I've gotten 8K since then. I really love these rules that you've given me, and I'm wondering if there's anything new that you've added on to the rule set that you were talking about for like pubbing and just like playing good Dota. What is the newest addition for what you do to like keep yourself sane and gain MMR in pubs?
I remember the conversation. I don't remember the content though, so I don't know how much more to add, but I think in general, I would recommend a Smurf because I know people like to play more than a couple games a day, but really, you don't have the mental focus to play more than a couple, especially when there's a lot of griefing players in the games. You get really mad, and once you're mad, you're done. You're gonna start making mistakes, and if you lose a game you should have won, you're gonna go into the next game really mad, and it's just gonna snowball. So, I'd recommend a Smurf, roughly around the same MMR. And once you play your couple games with high focus, high intensity, you can go relax a bit and try new heroes, or just keep playing the same stuff. But it won't be as much pressure, and I think your main will gain a lot of MMR if that's your goal.
Awesome. That wasn't part of the initial rules, so that's good shit. Good shit, guys. I appreciate that, Mike.
Sure.
So, Mike, you guys were successful. This week you have 2 series that you're playing. Most series or most weeks, a lot of teams would only have the 1 series. You have a team now that you've just taken down. Later this week, you're going against Quincy Crew, which is probably the second biggest challenge after you've already faced Evil Geniuses. Any thoughts on the preparation for that? How serious are you taking that matchup? Is scrim starting from now moving forward? What's going on with 4 Zoomers in preparation for Quincy Crew?
We've been scrimming almost every day for the past couple weeks, and we're going to continue that as well. I don't want to say we're going to treat them more seriously than anyone else because every game holds the same value, but they are definitely I would say the second best team in this tournament, with Undying being the third competition-wise.
Oh, you have Undying as the third. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Undying looking strong. We have yet to see them really tested. We're excited about that, only witnessing them take down a team. Mike, thank you so much for coming on and having some words with us. I guess my next set of funny question here is, have you had any opportunity to play the latest postseason? It's pretty good.
I'm actually playing way too much.
Okay. It's a good league, so make sure you step off and focus on 4 Zoomers a bit, okay?
I'm having trouble with that.
All right, Mike. Good luck, and I'll see you on the beach. Take care, my man.
Mhm.
Later. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming by and hanging out and sharing some words. It's always good to get his insight. As I mentioned before, it's interesting to see him in the coaching position. You know, Mike is a very polarizing figure in the NA community. Sometimes he's making big plays. Sometimes he's on the bad side of news. But I guess you guys, we can't deny that the dude loves Dota, and he seems to always be around the game, gravitating around it in some way.
Yeah, I think to players he's not so polarizing. It's more of he'll do some stuff that's not so savory within the community, but I think to most players, like everybody, he's got a really calm energy. That's what I think makes him a really good coach and a really good position 5, and I think that's what a lot of people respect and really like getting him on their team in pubs, because it's like he's a Brax. Like, you're just never going to be angry with these guys on your team. They're just so chill, and I'm just going to say dead on the inside that it's like, well, okay, guess I can be chill today, because at least I'm not that dead on the inside.
Not to bring up the mustache again, because that's literally the only thing I've talked about so far, but his mustache has had quite a big impact on the Dota scene. It's literally a cosmetic for Crystal Maiden, the IX Mike Crystal Maiden set.
True.
For those that haven't seen it,
True.
Google it. It's glorious. Congratulations
Mike,
on that. Man.
He nailed the signature look, if you will, and definitely carried that with him. And it's good to see him still kind of grinding away with the game, this time on the coaching aspect. We wish him luck, and we're curious to see how far 4 Zoomers can go, if they have a major spot for him in the future or not. But that will conclude our Upper Division series for today. We're not done with today's coverage, though, gentlemen. We get to now adventure into the Lower Division, where we're going to be awaiting a matchup between Jinghu versus The Cut. But that match is scheduled to happen at 6 p.m. Pacific, because our first series was a 2-0, and it is not an accelerated schedule. There is going to be a 1-hour intermission, roughly. It looks like technically 53 minutes, if you want to be precise. So please go have a snack, freshen up a bit, but don't go too far. Come back as we have more NA DPC action, Lower Division,